stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
A mere 12 points. Doesn't sound like much on paper, but when you put it into reality of a 5-week championship, it actually amounts to quite a bit. It's 2 places and a little bit more that you put on the table. And here at the halfway stage, Brands Hatch is our scene of play today as we get ourselves ready for action with the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series. It's brought to you live with World Pro Racing on YouTube, on Facebook Live, and on Twitch, as well as with the companies along with us today, with motorsport.tv, with, of course, ESTV, the Esports Television Network, and with TVM Sport as well. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside with me today is Kieran McGinley, and this is turning into a championship where the unpredictable becomes the normal. Brands Hatch will be one of those tracks where it's pretty much feeling today, Kieran, like it's a hot lap track. It's short, it's fast, it's flowing, it's all about rhythm.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, along to the stream. Great to have you with us, and thank you for the introduction, Jake. I'm happy to be here as well. Yes, Brands Hatch. I mean, the name alone stands tall amongst the circuits around the world. It's one of those circuits that everybody loves to come to. And for me especially, yeah, I love this track. Paddock Hill Bend going into the first turn with that gravel trap looming on the left-hand side. It's been there for years and just tempting you to try and take as much of that curb on the outside as much as possible. It's a fairly narrow circuit, but what it makes up for it being narrow, as you said, Jake, being a hot lap track, pretty much, the amount of speed you can take through some of these corners is astonishing. Expect drivers to be fully pedal to the metal all the way through.
And it's worth knowing that if drivers are going to be pedal to the metal here today, they are going to be on those limits and trying to not break over 101% and find themselves out in the gravel, the grass, the Armco, the tyres, wherever it may be, on whichever part of the circuit. It's going to be a tough order here today to try and find themselves maybe the level of consistency we've seen at some of the other circuits. But if you are brand new to World Pro Racing and what it offers to the table, you can like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by World Pro Racing, or you can head over to worldproracing.com for all of your amazing sim racing action. You can find yourself opportunities to sign up, new or old, when it comes to sim racing, and that includes your level of entry and ability alongside that. But we are just about in the final fringes of heading maybe over towards practice in the next couple of minutes. In fact, it's just happening right now, and we are focusing on the driver at the top at the moment in the Porsche. It is Redouane Messaoud at this stage, 4H3. Didn't have the best round one in the world. He said, I challenge anybody to try and drive that Porsche in the rain, but he really has loved Porsche in the dry up there at the top of the timing stand, and now car number 2 is second in the championship overall after victory last time out.
Yeah, and it's great, isn't it, when he came back and he absolutely did so well at the Circuit de Catalunya last time out. He showed everyone how it was done, and today he's sticking with that number 2 Porsche, that lovely black, orange and white coloured Porsche, as we now head our way on towards Hawthorne Bend just after Pilgrim's Drop. And as we've said before, Jake, look how narrow this track is, as he finds out how narrow the track is by taking an excursion onto the grass. Luckily for him, it's only practice. Let's ride on board in the cockpit as we now make our way down Dingle Dale and on towards Sheens, as you try and get as close as you can to that grass on the left-hand side, as you dare, as you head in towards Sterling's here. Track does camber slightly towards the apex there, so you can try and carry a little bit more speed as we head on our way through clearways and then in towards that last corner of Clark Curve as you go over the crest there, trying desperately to hang on to any grip that car is going to give you now onto the Brabham Straight as he now starts a brand new lap time of 24 flat there with that mistake. And Paddock Hill Bend, absolutely terrifying corner. If you get this wrong, use plenty of curb on the exit as well as we make our way up towards Druids. Goes uphill just as you get into the braking zone and you go over the crest as well as he tries to squeeze his way through on the inside of Alexis. Down the hill we go then in towards Graham Hill Bend, and you can see there not much room for error going through there, and then on towards Surtees, and that's pretty much given us a lap of this circuit, just a flying view. And it's so quick, this circuit, it goes by so quickly. I think the driver's going to love this one.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you there here, Kieran, but the idea here is to try and find themselves the best opportunity. Redouane Messaoud pulls it over to the side, try and get things all sorted out. Little bit of a shake-up here in terms of practice right now. You've got Jimmy Holm up there in third position in the AWE Ferrari, so he's certainly hoping that the Ferrari gives itself the big opportunity. And I am noticing couple of Bentleys and Aston Martin up there, couple of the AMG Mercedes. It looks like this track today, normally it's one that favours those that are the best in acceleration. It looks today like we've got a whole host of manufacturers feeling like they've got a really good chance today.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this championship is you don't have to stick with the manufacturer you were in the last race. You can just go over to a brand new manufacturer. We saw at the very first round at Silverstone where it was tipping down with rain, the Lexuses were absolutely on it. I think more often now at the Circuit de Catalunya we had last time out, you might see a more balanced field. I would have put my money on us becoming here at, in a British track once again. I was expecting the rain to be falling, but it's absolutely bone dry right now. But the weather and the temperature, not so warm, not as warm as it was in Spain last time out.
No, it's definitely not as warm. It is overcast conditions right now, but you also have to take a little eye on when this session is going on out at the moment. You can see the in-sim time, so to speak here, Kieran. It's 7:30 in the morning. There's no chance of this going to be a very warm track at this stage.
Oh, that's very true, but you know what? The early bird catches the worm, and the drivers are up here early. We've got yellow flags as we just head over towards Pilgrim's Drop there, and that is obviously Pierluca Amato, who currently leads the table right now and having a good time at this moment. But yeah, he had 2 podiums so far, I believe, but yet to find that win. But 25 points scored in the first round, 30 points scored in the second round. Is that his chance to grab the full 35 here tonight?
Well, he'll definitely want to increase his championship lead. It stands at 12 points at the moment over Redouane Messaoud, who is the winner last time out there, 43 points. Luke Whitehead, third in the championship with his consistency on 40 points. And then Tiziano Brioni is currently in fourth position on 37 points only right now. There are, though, a few drivers who are maybe a little bit out of position and surprisingly down the order. And it's the 2 other H3 drivers that I want to focus on here at this moment in time, Kieran. Both Hamada Akizi and Hamza Belhassan are both down there on 20 and 10 points respectively after both getting 0 points at Catalunya.
Yeah, and that will be a frustrating time for them both. They'll want to try and bounce back here at Brands Hatch, and qualifying is going to be crucial for that as well. So to see them not quite on the pace for practice, it's not the end of the world. They've still got just over 10 minutes to get themselves fine-tuned and ready for this qualifying session they've got coming up. But if they don't get a good lap in qualifying, they are going to struggle. Brands Hatch is a very narrow circuit. There aren't many heavy braking zones, and there aren't many places you can go side by side. It really will be a test of who's the bravest out in these conditions and out on this track, considering how narrow it is, as Messaoud there backs out of that potential practice lap and goes for another run. And of course, Hamada Akizi, 8th place in the championship, scored 20 points at the very first round in Silverstone, but no points last time out at the Circuit de Catalunya. I mean, Jake, he'll be wanting to bounce back as soon as possible.
Absolutely he will, and he'll be trying to do so in the AMG Mercedes and do so with a very, very quick level of pace around this one here today. But this is one of the few championships where you can say that certain tracks will be suiting certain drivers and certain driving styles, and that's something where you do start to see those differences come in Assetto Corsa Competizione. How different are the driving styles going to be? How is a certain driver going to like this track compared to maybe some others? You've got Jack Noller up there in second position right now. Miguel Neto is now into 5th place right now. So you have drivers out there who can maybe change the order about a little bit, can have a little bit more fun. For example, here in this practice, there's Tiziano Brioni, the winner of round 1. He's only down in 12th place right now, which won't be very many points on the board.
No, it won't at all, and obviously he'll want to get further up the table. It's not the end of the world, of course. It is the practice session, so it's the last chance they can really get themselves fine-tuned and into this circuit here. As you can see, his best lap time 23.9 from Tiziano Brioni, and of course, as you say, winner at the first round, but had a nightmare round at the Circuit de Catalunya last time out. If you missed it, that battle for third place sort of ended in tears, didn't it, Jake?
Absolutely did. Both drivers came into contact, both drivers having to take a trip down the lane, and well, it was himself and Akisi who came together, and Akisi ended up with no points, and Brioni only ending up with 2 for a 13th place finish. So that, well, sorry, a 14th place finish. So really not much that he had to play with then, trying to recover back and gain maybe the smallest amount of points possible. In fact, he does now jump down into 13th position out there on circuit, as I believe Dobes has just jumped up now, and so has Ruoff up into 7th place. So this is one of those races where you feel that maybe those in the mid-pack have something to prove at the mid-round of the season. Of course, big points, you can still gain so much because of the massive drop-off of points in this championship, Kieran. It's 5 points all the way down to about 7th place, where you score 10 points. And then from there, it's 1 point drops each way down. So a score inside the top 5, top 6 really does give you the big points to jump over your rivals in the mid-pack.
And that's the point scoring system heavily favouring those good results. If you get yourself a podium, you've got a lot of points on your hand, and you're able to get up the table much, much quicker. We're watching Hans Hannes there. Oh, he's got that all wrong going in towards, that is, I think that's Sheen, sorry. Got onto the curb there, and that back end just simply said, no, you're having a laugh. Just way too much speed in there, too aggressive with the curbs. The car did not like that one bit. He got his, he got his first points, 3 points it was at Silverstone at the very first round. Didn't score last time around, so he'll be hoping that he can get on the board again, because as you say, that mid-pack, it is so tightly packed together that any good result brings boards you all the way up the order.
Yeah, I've also seen something really interesting. It's something that I wasn't really expecting. Keep an eye on Adam Plivac in position 27, because he jumped into the session early on, decided he wanted to give it a go in the McLaren, and then he's all of a sudden decided he's going to switch over to the Lexus. So a very, very late change here for Plivac, who doesn't feel comfortable driving around this place in what would be a very slippery McLaren.
Yeah, it's one of those very, very last-minute decisions where it can either make or break the race, and Plivac here will be hoping that it makes his race as he now handles Paddock Hill Bend just onto that curb there. And sometimes with those late calls to go into another car, it can unsettle you, but Plivac here will be hoping that it doesn't do that whatsoever. Currently 16th in the standings. He scored 5 points last time out at the Circuit de Catalunya, so that kept him into 16th place in this championship so far. But although we will say that there's a long way to go, when you think about it, we've got this round tonight here at Brands Hatch. Next week we go to Zandvoort, then it's the final round of the Nürburgring, and that's it. So really, you want to be getting those good results all the way through. Stay as consistent as you possibly can.
And it's that consistency which is so key, and it's been key to one driver in this championship, maybe more than others, and that's Jan-Nicolas Urbrik, who, with a 15 and 20 point score consecutively, finds himself up in P5 in the championship and is doing a wonderful, wonderful job of finding himself right up there. He's 10th place at the moment in this practice right now. We are about a handful of minutes, 5 of them to be precise, away from the end of practice right now. But Jan-Nicolas Urbrik has just been the quiet driver, is just getting on, staying out of trouble, head down, and it's one of those drivers that you see P5, P6, just get that quiet result, and you look at the end of the season and you see them, say, 4th or 5th in the championship, and you go, How on earth did they manage that?
Yeah, and sometimes it's always quite nice if you're not on the coverage, if the commentators don't say much about you, and you're getting the good results. It normally means you're doing a good job out there. You're just keeping yourself to yourself. You're staying out of trouble. You're getting those good results on the board. As Erbrick there getting very, very close to the curbs there, and in fact the grass going through Hawthorne Bend as he now gets well out of the way as he heads his way through Westfield Bend, through Dingle Dell. Of course, some great names around this circuit. And of course, you can join World Pro Racing's community following us on our social media. And if you do want to race with us, whether it's your first ever time or you've been with us for years and years, you can do on the website as well. All the platforms and all the event details will be on the website at worldproracing.com. So come and join us for some great racing action. We could be talking over you. I know, this madness, isn't it? Erbrick coming across the line. Now, Sheldon Muscat here. Now, he's one of those drivers that's tried to keep himself to himself. 4 points at Catalonia, 6 points at Silverstone at the very start of the race, I should say. But Catalonia, Jake, I'm having trouble with words here. You take over. I'm having a meltdown over here. I don't know what's going on.
I'd go careful, and I'd ask you if you can smell burning toast at this stage of time.
I know. Not at the moment. I'm
Good.
okay. Can I try again?
No, it's my turn now. Sheldon Scott Muscat having a good job. 9th position right now here in practice. And as you were trying to say, round 1 of the championship at Silverstone, 4 points. Only 6 points at round 2 at Catalonia. Is on 10 points, tied on points with Hasma Bel Hassan. But 10 points at this moment in time, you still have a mathematical shot of really jumping up the order. He's a point behind Max Waffel, who's on 11 right now, and then Urquizy's there on 20 points. So it's a very, very tight battle from 10th on down, who are all split by 7 points here, and it's been a very, very entertaining battle to see so far in the practices. But there's one thing that is going to be coming up in qualifying that we haven't really talked about here. It's a short lap around this place, only 1 minute 23, so traffic becomes a huge factor when it comes to building a lap.
We've already seen in this practice session how prevalent the traffic is at this circuit, and especially when you get in towards Hawthorne Bend, Westfield Bend, into Dingle Dell and Sheens, you get to Stirlings as well. There's not really many opportunities out on track to get out of the way, so that's going to be a huge deliverance for the drivers. They're going to have to work that out as well, and they'll be hoping that they get that clear air that they need. They've only got that 15 minutes in qualifying. It sounds like a lot, but to be honest with you, if you're lapping around here in these 22s and 23s, oh, Max Waffel gets his tail out there going through Hawthorne Bend, manages to hold on to it. Well played, sir. Managing to hold on and keeping that car in a straight line. But as I was saying, the track is so narrow here that getting out of the way of a faster car is not going to be easy.
Absolutely not. And there's going to be quite a lot of work to be done by the stewards, Adrian Fagayo and George Muscat, over the course of qualifying to make sure that drivers are in the right position and they're not running into anybody else out there on circuit making mistakes. One of those few tracks where you can really say that you need to be out there and need to be out there first to go and set those laps and set in a good bank early, because the more congested things get and drivers come down in and look for tyres and look for an opportunity to get back out and qualifying again, it just makes life that little bit more difficult to try and piece together the right lap. We've seen it already so far, the likes of Messaoud having to dive down the inside of vehicles on flying laps. So it's taking a lot of awareness from these drivers to work out where they need to be, and more importantly, how close they are to the car in front, because you also have the other mentality, Kieran, of, for example, finding a driver out there on circuit who is on a flying lap and doesn't have to give way.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? But, I mean, these drivers are up for any challenge, and trying to set a good, clean qualifying lap here without running into traffic is going to be difficult in itself. There's Urquizy then, currently P6 in these practice standings. We're into the last handful of seconds now, just 35 seconds to go in this practice session. There's Marco Piardi, who's in that Bentley, the Italian here. Had a good time out last time in Catalonia, scoring his first points of the season and looking to try and build on that momentum as he makes his way through Hawthorne Bend. Just 20 seconds to go, so pretty much we're looking at the last few laps here, last couple of laps for these drivers. Piardi, this will be his last lap. He won't get back to the start-finish line in time. Bit of dust and gravel there shot up as Piardi makes his way now in towards Stirlings, and then on clear ways he will go towards Clark Curve, as that's the last corner of the circuit.
certainly is, and he'll be hoping for at least a good run. 17th at the moment isn't the end of the world in practice. That puts you right on the cusp of the points. We've seen how maybe drivers a ways away, further down the order, can really gain some advantages. Joseph Dobes there in 15th position had a good qualifying, or a good practice, I should say, there, as we now head over towards qualifying in the next couple of moments. Now, the question becomes here with Redouane Messaoud, who really struggled in that Porsche in the rain. He's surely the driver to beat here when it comes to dry weather conditions. He looked absolutely unflappable in the early stages last time out when we looked at him at Catalonia.
Yeah, and it just seems like he's proving that Silverstone was a bit of a red herring. Obviously, only the 8 points he scored at the very first round, came to Catalonia, had a point to prove, got the win, and made it look easy as well. There were points in that race where he was being caught in the race lead, and then about 10 minutes to go, he just seemed to find another gear, absolutely shot off into the lead and won the race by a good handful of seconds. He'll be hoping for more of the same, but before he does that, he'll need to grab the pole position. That'll give him the best chance and the best run going into Paddock Hill Bend. Qualifying is going to be crucial as well, because you want to qualify in a position that keeps you out of trouble. If you start at the front, obviously, you've got a good chance of staying out of trouble. If you start at the back, you've got a good chance of seeing what happens ahead of you. You start in the midfield, going in towards Paddock Hill Bend, you'll soon realise how narrow Paddock Hill Bend actually is and how daunting that gravel trap is on your left-hand side. What's the important thing is qualifying is going to be as crucial as ever.
Absolutely, and of course, when it comes to qualifying, we've got it all for you, ladies and gentlemen, here with World Pro Racing. And in fact, when it comes to all of this battle and this effort, you can see everybody out on track right now searching for the best runs. There is Redouane Messaoud, who is looking to go and get 2 in a row here in the Sprint Series Championship. These races only 30 minutes long. There isn't a million miles to play with in terms of these events, but what is worth just keeping in mind is that every single driver out there has that potential to go out, put the best time on the board and win this. And they know better than anybody else. The one thing you can't afford to be doing here is putting yourself out of position in qualifying and then trying to win it back during the race. It just doesn't happen at this circuit. You can't force passes around Brands Hatch.
No, you have to be really patient with those passes. There's not many heavy braking zones. The heaviest one is going in towards Druids, and that's at the second corner. The rest of the circuit is just a bit of a dab of the brakes as you make your way in towards Stirlings and maybe in towards Hawthorne Bend as well. But we'll ride on board with our championship leader in Pierluca Amato. Hopefully we'll get to stay on board with him for the entire lap. He's driving the number 36 Porsche at this moment in time for this event, making our way now in towards Paddock Hill Bend, slowing that car down, a little bit of opposite lock as he enters into the corner, nice and smooth all the way through, using all that curb on the left-hand side, getting as close as you can to the gravel without going in towards Druids. Then obviously you're braking uphill, going over the crest. Make sure not to lock a brake, leaving your braking too late. In towards Graham Hill Bend, nice sweeping left-hand corner there, and you can try and use as much of the curb there as you possibly can, making our way in towards Surtees. This curb always catches you out as you now make your way over the crest and on towards Pilgrim's Drop, and you really do feel the drop in this as you make your way underneath the bridge there and down towards Hawthorne's Bend. You haven't got a lot of references to pick out here. You've got that 100-meter board just before as you make your way through there. A little bit of a dab on the brakes using the curb there. In towards Westfield Bend we go. Very tricky corner. If you catch too much of that curb, it will send you straight into the gravel, in towards Dingle Den, and now in towards Sheens then. Again, nice in towards there. We've got double yellows ahead of us, but we're now heading our way in towards Stirling's. A bit of camber to help you try and gather as much speed as you possibly can. On towards Clearways we go. The green flags will wave, and then the final corner in towards Clark Curve. Uphill as you just try and find the apex, then it's downhill when you want to try and apply the power over those little crests and on towards the Brabham Straight, and that is a lap of Brands Hatch there. Pierluca Amato, 22.5 from our championship leader.
It's not just a lap, it's an incredibly good lap as well. A 22.5, he's 4 tenths clear of Jack Noller in the Bentley second position right now, 22.995. For him right now, it's Miguel Nato in the Aston Martin in third, and then it's the Ferrari of Jimmy Holm fourth, and then it was Urbrick in fifth, but he's now down to sixth because Messaoud jumps up into third position on his first flying lap, and Akizi for H3 up into fourth position. Sheldon Scott Muscat finds sixth place on the opening lap in the Bentley, so 2 Bentleys and 2 Porsches inside of the top 6 at this stage. Otti and Kunjabo make up the top 10 at the moment, but a number of drivers yet to put in their representative lap times. Whitehead, someone to look out for. Maybe even the likes of Tiziano Brioni, someone to keep an eye out on. Tom Otti, though, was the first to set any real sort of time. He's currently 9th place in the Gifted Racing Team car, heading through the left and on to this back stretch, but he does push it a little bit too far wide, which puts him maybe in a little bit of a disadvantage as Max Vaffel goes 9.
Yeah, as we see Tom Otti now making his way through, just pushing a little bit too hard, as you said, Jake, onto the grass. It might slow him down a little bit as he makes his way down the Brabham Straight, and there you can see, yep, slightly off the pace there, just under 0.2 of a second off the pace, and that's what that running wide can do to you. Miguel Neto puts himself now up to 3rd place in that Garage 59 Aston Martin. Really good lap from him. He's needed a good result all the way through, and he showed some good colours at the last race in Catalonia. Kunjabo then up to 11th, but quickly displaced by the Lexus of, I think that was Whitehead, the number 6 car, making his way up to the 3rd row of the grid. 3rd place in the championship, 3rd row of the grid.
Certainly has. Kesey jumps up into 4th position as we take an eye on the white Ferrari of Hans Hannes here, going through Druid's Corner. Now, there's 2 philosophies there through Druid's Kieran that we have a little look at when we go through this Druid section. One of the keys is to get nice and narrow so you can attack the exit as early as possible. The other one is to take the big late lunge on the brakes, diamond off the corner, and try and attack that exit a little bit more narrowly to get yourself in line for Graham Hill.
Yeah, and both lines do work. I mean, one of them's much more aggressive, where you'll actually try and trail brake in towards the apex and try and get the car slowed down enough, just enough, so that you make the corner. But I'm not brave enough for that, that's for sure. These drivers are making it look much easier than it actually is, for sure, as Hans Hannes there making his way all the way now through Westfield Bed, through Dingledale, and on towards Sheens. And Sheens is a difficult corner as well. You can see that the back end stepping out on Hans Hannes there shows you how difficult that corner is. It looks like a simple left-hander, but the crest going up towards the braking zone there, then you've got the curb itself, which if you take too much of it will punish you onto the grass on the left-hand side. If you carry too much speed, you go onto the grass on the left-hand side and possibly towards the wall. So much can go wrong at Sheens there. You've really got to attack it, but got to know the consequences. Hans Hannes then goes up to P13 with that last lap time, 23.9.
A very nice 23.9 as well. Sheldon Scott Muscat puts a 23.2 on the board, goes to 10th place then. Here's how the top 10 looks. It's Amato, Nola, Nato, Urquizi, and Messaoud in 5th place, followed by Brioni, Urbrick, Whitehead, Holm, and Muscat, the top 10 at this stage. Amato can be quite happy with the way that the Porsche is working for him in the number 36 right now. Here is Max Vaffel making progress to the line. Does he improve on a 23.6 on this lap time? He does. He goes to a 22.8. He definitely did find 0.8 of improvement. That puts him inside 3rd row, which he can be quite happy about here, splitting up the H3 drivers 4th and 6th now.
Yeah, he'll be happy in that one, but he'll want even more. He'll know there's even more time to find. When you find 0.8 of a second like that, just in one lap, you know there's even more time to find. Hamada Akizi now tackles in towards Sheens and on towards Sterling's as well. And that nice banked corner there, beautiful camera angle of Sterling's there as we make our way down towards Clearways and on towards that final corner of Clark Curve. As you can see there, lots of tyre marks being left on the entrance in towards Clark Curve. And now here comes Akizi then in the H3 Racing Mercedes on towards that start-finish line. Can he find any improvement? He can, 22.5. That puts him up a position to 4th place.
Does just jump over Miguel Neto then, as Messaoud has been jumped straight down into 8th place through Muscat now to 6th. Neto up into 5th position. There's Tiziano Brioni, 22.6, jumps up to 5th place and moves Neto and Muscat down another position as well with that time. But everybody's starting to just get themselves the opportunity to attack. The rubber starting to weather itself in as Bel Hassan moves up into 12th position. Everyone's just finding enough time here where they are just getting what they need out there on track. The track's curing up to be what they need to. 22.3 though, the benchmark by Pierluca Amato, who is really feeling confident here today with the Porsche and how it's running. He's been saying how he's not been very happy here, Kieran, about the way that he has been running those opening 2 races. A few things here and there Pierluca Amato is a perfectionist, and sometimes it is those perfectionists that find absolutely everything they need to in racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that can be a disadvantage to you, because if you're not doing as well as you possibly can, you can let that get under your skin. What Pierluca Amato needs to do today is get a win under his belt. That will be for sure his way of getting back and bouncing back once again, as he's looking for that race win. He wants that race win. We know he can get it, but now the only thing stopping him is Brands Hatch. Can he conquer Brands as he now makes his way on towards that start finish line, on towards the Brabham Straight and towards the line? Does he improve? No, 22.5 there, so just under 2/10 off the pace. But looking at him going through Paddock Hill Bend, I think he's still going for it.
Absolutely, you've got a couple laps of life out of the tyres that you can attack, and then maybe you do start to see them wear away a little bit, so the opportunity then does start to just fall away ever so slightly, and that will be a little concerning around there. We've got 5 minutes coming up left in this one, so already 2/3 of qualifying has got itself into the books. There is his nearest challenger, Redouane Messaoud, only down in 9th place on a 23 flat. He's a full 7/10 of a second off at this stage, and that will not be part of the script that he was running after a big victory at Catalunya.
Yes, absolutely. He'll want to try and keep that going, won't he? That is for sure. But Messaoud right now in 9th place. It's going to be difficult from that position to take full advantage. He needs to try and find a better lap out there in the Porsche. We know he's got the pace. He showed it at Catalunya, but sometimes you'll get tracks that maybe you're not quite so confident at, as the Porsche or taps the back of the Lexus there as he now makes his way on towards the Brabham Straight. He'll have to try and go again at the very least. And he went quickest. My goodness, well, I said he needed to pull out a lap. He definitely has. 22.3 puts him straight to the top of the table.
That is insane, the way that lap time has been found. A 22.2 from Amato, but he's had an off-track somewhere, and he has encountered a little bit of issues with the stewards and the in-game stewarding, so that lap time has been deleted and will not count. So Messaoud, top of the timing stands at the moment, not by very much at all, a few thousandths here and there, but to do that time with contact through the final corner, which would have checked him up a 0.5 to a 1/10 on the run to the line, that is really something else from Redouane Messaoud, who could have been on for a 2 at least there with that time. Now it's ball court Amato to find the time.
Yeah, it's now his time to shine, trying to find that time. And as you said, for Messaoud, there's probably even more time to find as he tapped the back of that Lexus. There's Hamada Akizi now making his way down Pilgrim's Drop and onwards towards Hawthorne Bend. He's currently on a flying lap in the H3 Racing 408 Mercedes. Lovely all the way through Hawthorne's, looking nice and smooth on the Derek Minter Straight. Now in towards Westfield Bend, trying to use as much curb as possible on the exit down Dingledale and then on towards Sheens. And again, you've got to attack this curb. You can't have any fear, otherwise it will sense that fear. In towards Stirling's we go, and again, using as much of the track as you possibly dare. On towards Clearways we go, and then Clark Curve approaches. The long right-hander here. Chuck the car in, hope it sticks, and hope you don't get the understeer as the track falls away from you. Here he goes then onto the Brabham Straight and towards that start-finish line. Can he improve on 5th place? You can! Up to 3rd place he goes, 22.4, and that just shows you, look at that gap for pole position right now. 0.015 seconds is the gap between Amato and Messaoud there. Bring it on, 2.5 minutes to go. Let's have it.
Absolutely, it's very interesting to see where the purple sectors are. Messaoud's got sector 1 in his back pocket. The second sector's in Jack Noller's, and Akizi literally just then set the fastest final sector of anybody going on through. There is Jan-Niklas Erbrich in 10th position right now in this session in the 299 Lexus, trying to get things going. But 2-minute warning, as they'd say in the NFL. This is all about now drilling up for your final lap and making sure that you are in the best possible position to put your best foot forward. Miguel Neto, the leading Aston Martin, will be certainly hoping that his best foot is forward. 23.1 his last time by, 0.4 off his best, but he's got 0.5 second he needs to find.
Yeah, and obviously now is the crunch time. You're coming into this final lap. Once you cross the line now, it will pretty much be your final lap of the session. So you've got to make it count now as Neto makes his way in towards 30s and now going over the crest and heading your way towards Pilgrim's Drop. Currently P7 in that Garage 59 car. He now makes his way down Pilgrim's Drop and towards Hawthorne Bends once again. This is not where you want to find a car. He'll be looking at the track ahead of him. Is there clear track? Oh, there's just a car up ahead. No worries whatsoever. We're just over 60 seconds on the clock. Now tackling in towards Westfield Bend, down Dingle Dell and towards Sheens.
Doing very well. I've seen Hans Hannes jump the Ferrari up into 10th place. He's found a wonderful lap. Hans has been struggling to get inside the top 15 sometimes when it's come to qualifyings, but he's just been beaten by Ruoff, who's jumped now into 10th place. Drivers are finding times in the final 40 seconds. This will be worrying for a lot of people who feel like they maybe have the chance to try and defend some of their places. NATO will come across the line, 22.8. No improvements. There is Yannick Ruoff, who gets his time in a 23 flat. He's got one more attempt to make that one happen. Of course, they are allowed to finish those lap times. We will see end of the session coming up as well. And at the moment, it is Porsche 1-2. Messaoud and Amato, the two title contenders at the moment, at the top of the board. Akizi, Nola, Holm, the top five would be surprising to some, with Brioni 6th at this stage only. Timer now expires here in qualifying. It now becomes a game of who can get it over the line and find the time that they so desperately want. So we focus here on Yannick Ruoff, trying to get himself over to the line and maybe finding one more improvement. He's got the Audi in front of Dean Vella, which is not going to be too helpful as he tries to get through the corner, and he's doing well. Sorry, that's not Dean Vella. I think that was going to be Stramer, who was in front. There's Amato making the run to the line, and he finds only a 22.4, so not good enough from Amato. He cannot find the improvement that gets him over the line and where he's needed. Akizi in the pits, Nola in the pits. Maybe Jimmy Holm and Brioni have something to say to find a little bit more time in the 777 and the 71 respectively. But it seems, at least for the time being, that there isn't much that we can do to see any of those changes. There is Bel Hassan all the way down in 14th position. This has been a very competitive qualifying session, and what has been key is that those who have been competitive, well, every place feels like it means so much more. Otti does jump himself into 15th place then with that time late on in the session. But here comes Hamza Bel Hassan making the drive to the line, 14th position right now. Is there improvement? Yes, there is. He jumps up into the top 10 late. So Messaoud will take the pole position from Amato. Akizi goes from 3rd place. And you have to say, it was always going to be a close-fought qualifying session, but 15 thousandths of a second close was not part of the script.
Wow, it's going to be a great race, isn't it? Around Brands Hatch once again, the two title rivals going head-to-head as they make their way in towards Paddock Hill Bend for the very first time. Have to give that shout-out, though, to Tom Otti, who hasn't scored a point this season, but has qualified in the top 15. This could be his best chance yet to get some points on the board. He'll be looking to stay out of trouble going in towards Paddock Hill Bend. That first lap is going to be a hectic one. There'll be action all up and down the field.
Otti had a chance to score points at Silverstone, but a drive-through penalty put ends to those dividends, but he'll be certainly hoping that he has a good run. Now, Tiziano Brioni, winner of the opening round. He's down there in 6th position right now here, Kieran. What's his aim and emphasis now moving into this race, knowing he's got to put some work in to gain places?
I think keep his head down. Obviously, the two title rivals will be at the front of the field. As long as those two are battling, he's still got a chance of catching them and possibly even joining that battle for the lead of the race. He's got to get a good start. He's got to keep calm, stay out of trouble, and he's got a good chance of getting a good result.
Trouble, though, is easily found around this place. Brands Hatch is no stranger to finding a few pile-ups here and there, and has been a track which has been all about close quarters combat racing as we get ourselves a little bit closer to the gridding process. Here's how they line up. It's Messaoud and Amato on the front row with Akizi and Nola on row 2. Jimmy Holmes starts 5th with Tiziano Brioni 6th, and then you got Nato and Muscat 7th and 8th. Vaffel and Bel Hassan make the top 10 on the board, and you can look on down and see players like Luke Whitehead down there in 14th position, a little bit out of place here. The first of the Lexuses there are 13th and 14th with Urbrick alongside as well. They didn't have the best session in the world, but they are about to get themselves the lead off here on their very, very short pace lap, so to speak. They will get the green and go as they cross the start-finish line, as they take off and gain control and are told to go to an in-game specified speed limit to make sure that everyone is holding in, and that's why you see quite a few checkups. The pace of this one in control with Redwan Messaoud, who can maybe try and coordinate this start with Urquizy and make sure that this start works out in his favour. A lot of checking up to make sure that they find themselves within the limits here and give themselves the best possible advantages to go. There's a long wait to the line. Here's their opportunity then. They line it up properly. Let's get 30 minutes on the clock then. Race starts now, and immediately Nola moving there in fourth position down to the bottom side as they all look to battle. It's the Indy layout, and Amato has gone straight on there at turn one. He has to take to the gravel, avoid 3, 4. Spinner in the background there. It's one of the Mercedes that's gone around. I think it's Tiziana Brioni potentially who could have gone around there. There is Nola, who's way down the order. Sheldon's got Muscat trying to do well, but crazy off the start there. That's one of the Mercedes. It was Bel Hassan, I believe, now, who finds himself in the pits and out early on. Tom Otti getting caught up and involved.
No, not Tom Otti. He had a great start. I said he needed to keep out of trouble, but he was caught right in it. Unfortunate for him, as I think that was contact at the very start, at the very front. That was a bit of a strange one, but I think Urquizy ran into the back of the car ahead, and that's what caused all that drama in the background. Messaoud, though, has managed to keep himself out of trouble. Stramair is going side by side with one of the green cars making our way through, one of the other Audis. I think that could be Dean Vella. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the two of them there. Stramair manages to come out on top as we now make our way in towards Westfield Bend, on our way towards Dingle Dell and towards Sheens once again. Stramair manages to hold on to 12th place. Meanwhile, there's Rassar, who's under attack here from the Lexus behind of Urbrick, who wants those points. A little bit of a moment for Piardi in the background, just on the exit of Sheens there, as we now make our way on towards Clearways, towards Clark Curve once again. We haven't even had the first lap. We're still going side by side. That's 12 going in towards there. We've got a car off in the background there, racing across the gravel there, really bumping and barging over the gravel there. We haven't even completed the first lap yet, and we've seen so much drama.
Yes, it's very much elbows out, and that's trouble into turn one. Somehow saves it then with a little bit of contact, able to gather it up. But this mid-pack here, fighting it out for 15th place. This is Jan-Nicholas Urbrick, who definitely doesn't want to be there. Contact there as the Bentley there, Piardi, gets shoved out of the way by one of the Porsches going through. That's Ruoff, who's found the place. And then, all of a sudden, it's the vehicle who just went off, Jan Ryler, who's in the mix as well. Wide goes one of the other cars in front. That's Jamstrand there, who's just gone off, and now Diego Riboldi's in on the mix. We haven't talked about the fact that the lead is a very quiet scene at the front after the stages. Riboldi just getting a little bit of a slide on there, as this will bring Umberto Noto in the very classic Aston Martin there alongside British Racing Green, gets the place and makes it happen. There's Miguel Nato in 6th position in the Aston Martin. He's under pressure from Vaffel and Amato on the recovery in 8th place. So this is turning into a 4-car train in the early stages right now, which could lead to a whole heap of a lot more battles going on near the front. Messaoud leads from Nola.
Yeah, and that's just important for Amato there to stay out of trouble. He's done the best he can. He's only dropped a couple of positions, but that could have been a lot worse. Jack Nola then in 2nd place, holding off against Urquizy as we make our way up towards Druids for another time in this race. Bit of a flash of the lights there from Urquizy, just to let Jack Nola know he's there as we make our way now down towards Graham Hill Bend for another time in this track. Of course, we started out today with 10 degrees on track temperature, as that's Max Vaffel there under attack from Amato, the championship leader. We're going side by side ahead of them. That's Muscat and Neto going side by side in towards that left-hander of Surtees, and I think Muscat's got that position done. No, he hasn't. Neto has just about got that move done. He now moves into 5th place in that Garage 59 car, but he's still got Muscat all over the back of him as we make our way in towards Hawthorne Bend.
Absolutely, this is 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Behind that in 9th place is Stramair, and he's holding back the tides right now in position number 9. Nato there in 5th can be very happy, and there's the view just behind to see what is on the rear spoiler of that vehicle. You can see three very, very hungry drivers wanting to gain places and move into the top 5 and score some big points. There is the likes of Yannick Ruoff that we turn to and focus. He's having a big battle with Rasai. Managed to just get through, but Rasai trying to hold the inside here at the Sheen curve. Does not quite manage to, and that is Ruoff's place then up into 13th. Look at those battles, though, that are going on up and down the order. This is pack racing mentality at this moment, and NATO now suddenly thinking that he had a chance to break away. Is all of a sudden once again thinking about that Bentley having an opportunity in probably one of the widest cars in the mirrors, as now here comes Vaffel starting to think about the AMG Mercedes getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, Muscat there on the offensive, but now quickly has to go on the defensive as he's all over as Max Vaffel tries to find a way through. He might not find a way through in towards Surtees. Meanwhile, that's Daniel Stramer trying to go through in the GT Omega RPM Audi. He makes his way through Graham Hill Bend. There's our championship leader in Pierluca Amato, currently 8th place. He's sort of staying in 8th place at the moment. He can't find his way through. Meanwhile, Luke Whitehead, he's trying to challenge the back of Amato there for 8th place as well. He's had a good start because he started P14. He's up to 9th place now, trying to pick his way through the field. Sheldon Muscat, though, is trying to hold on for what he can. Dobes then in that striking yellow Mercedes, that JD Racing Mercedes, the number 830, currently 23rd, and looking to try and get as many positions as possible. Now, the race stewards are having a look at that turn 1 incident, and we've got some penalties handed out here. Akiz is going to get a stop and go 10-second penalty for bumping Amato. Now, that was into Paddock Hill Bend. I thought that's what happened. It looked a bit odd that Amato went straight on, but Amato himself has got a 20-second stop and go penalty for a dangerous track rejoin and causing that major incident up towards Druid. So a very, very big penalty for the both of them, and that's going to drop them straight down the order like a stone.
Exactly. Positions going to rise then from a lot of other drivers, and they'll be certainly happy about picking up places here around this track. They know that these positions are very hard fought. You can see it right now as Stramer's trying to defend from another one of the Lexuses right now. This is Adam Plivac trying to move up after all of those battles that we've seen earlier on, and the number 1 car is looking like he's in position 1-1, hoping it's not position 1-2, as he finds himself now looking a little bit further behind him as he goes through the corner, just trying to open up the exits then in the Audis. We haven't seen too much in terms of big scores out of the Audis so far, but this is one of the tracks where you'd put down on paper the Audi with that shorter wheelbase may be taking an advantage here today.
Yeah, and obviously a shorter wheelbase does, in theory, mean you get that better handling. But of course, you need a circuit. You need a car that has a lot of power. It's a power track here at Brands Hatch, especially when you get to some of these cars, as Muscat here is all over the back of Neto. Vaffel is also trying to get involved as well. Pierluca Amato will at some point have to take his penalty, so he won't be in this battle for very long, as Muscat here looking for a move down the inside in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Brave man for trying that one. Riding on board with him then, as you can see, Max Vaffel getting a little bit of a moment there, going down the hill in towards Paddock Hill Bend. And that's the line we were talking about from Neto there. He's braking towards the apex, darting in, attacking the corner so that the car behind in Sheldon Muscat can't possibly find a way through. Akizi's in the pits for his stop and go 10-second time penalty.
And he's just managed to escape out of the pits then. Look at what he's coming up towards. He's in 18th place outside of the point, but the 3 cars in front of him are there and close. Now, Stramer has just lost the position here to Ruoff, who's jumped up now into 11th place. So Rassar couldn't get it, but Ruoff can. And now Ruoff is trying to get away through on Plivac to get that place back. Again, we just cut away at the wrong time as we focus a little bit there on Dobes having a lot of issues technically going on through as he ET'd the car at that moment in time. But there is Umberto Noto in 19th place. Now look at this behind him. Raboldi, Jamstran and Legreston all there wanting to get on by him.
Absolutely, and Umberto Noto's got his mirrors full of the car of Raboldi behind him. Meanwhile, Yannick Ruoff is trying to stream away from Adam Plivac just behind as they make their way now in towards that long right-hander of Sheen's. It comes at you very quickly, though. Marco Piardi just about in the points right now, but he's under pressure from Kun Szabo, the Hungarian, as we now make our way in towards Sterling there. And there is Kun Szabo, 16th place, qualified outside of the top 20, now has a chance of scoring a point as he makes his way in towards Clark Curve. And of course, Kunshabo got 1 point at the very first round of the season. He scored 7 at Catalunya last time out. He'll want another one. Look at this. He's trying to go up the inside of Piatti there. Piatti tries to cover the inside line, but it's too late. The Lexus GRT car is all the way up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, and Piatti gets a spin on. He spins it out and then gets tagged. I think that was by Hans Hannes. There was nothing the Estonian could have done to avoid that one. And Piatti was already out of control on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, and the Bentley finds himself in the wall.
Imagine if you're, though, Keezy, pick up 2 places. A spin like that through turn 1, trying to get greedy, trying to get aggressive. It's very easy to make those mistakes, and we just saw it right now. This is Miguel Neto, currently in 4th position right now, trying to hold off on the battles with Muscat and Waffle. Messaoud still leads this one. Nola in 2nd and Holm in 3rd. They're quite spread out at the moment at the front. Here's some side-by-siders. Gershli Kunshabo now trying to fight for that final point here, and they will all get promoted because of Amato. Down the inside goes Keezy. He now finds himself in 15th with a very comfortable and astute move at Whitehead Bend, and he's done very, very quite nicely there to get himself that position. But now there is more on the horizon. That's a mistake by Kunshaba. He runs wide, and thank you very much. Now finally in comes Amato, who I think maybe was trying to search for a gap before coming in and making his stop.
Yeah, I think as well, there's a lot of battling going on behind him. He'll have tried to get himself as far out as possible before serving his penalty. I think he had to serve his penalty this lap, or he would have been shown the black flag. So he's going to fall all the way down the order now. But Hans Hannes now up into 14th, and Kunshabo there now back into that top 15 spot that he wants, and so wants as well. Daniel Stramer is being under pressure from Rissart and Ryler. Now, we haven't spoken of Ryler really at all in the treble 3 car, yet to score points this season. Currently finds himself in 12th place. Jan Ryler looks to be, or at least right now with 19 minutes to go, in a great position to get his first points of the season.
Same could be said for Rissart, who is in 11th place. He's been spending most of the time at the back of the pack, but he's managed to make that Nissan work so far at the moment as they climb down towards that Hawthorne Bend and try and attack. It's so easy to follow on and go straight on like Stramer did then when you're trying to follow in the same lines, but Stramer is really pushing. Riboldi's under pressure. Here comes Jamsran down the inside. He can't quite get it though. The Ferrari able to hold it around the outside on the exit and doing a very good job. What I am curious though is to find out what the gap is at the moment for Redouane Messaoud. We've seen nothing of him in the opening 13 minutes. There you can see he's only got a couple of seconds to play with 1.5 over Jack Nolla, who is not letting go completely of this scrap at the top of the field.
Yeah, he got a podium last time out, didn't he, Jack Nolla? He wants another one. He even wants the win as well in that Bentley, making his way on towards Hawthorne Bend. And it's only 1.5 seconds as well. Not bad at all from Jack Nolla. He'll be hoping that today could be a chance of a race victory. And what about Jimmy Holm as well? In that treble 7 Ferrari, he's having a fantastic race, holding on to that last podium place. It could be his first podium of the season if he can hold on. Jan Ryler there has managed to get himself up to 11th place now, so he's past Stramer. Oh, there's a huge moment there for one of the cars in the background. It is Rissart. You're absolutely right, Jake. So he's had a big moment going in towards that would have been Graham Hill Bend. So you can see a car lock up massively and go straight on where they just don't have the grip to turn in.
Absolutely. I think there was more of a snap as well that he was having to deal with by just the sheer fact of how far out he was. Now here's Hamida Akizi. He's trying to think about the move. You can see that sharp snap with the steering wheel trying to get to the inside of Stramer. Picks the run up off the exit. We just turned away at the wrong time though. See that one up the hill. There's the move done though, and that is Hamida Akizi now up into 11th place. Jan Ryler is the top 10 at this moment, so Akizi on the recovery in the AMG Mercedes, doing well, but it'll be a long road to get to Ruoff in 9th place. So that's going to be a long road. Of course, you can join us with World Pro Racing if you head over to worldproracing.com, get yourself signed up and racing here in this series and many others in the likes of rFactor 2 and Gran Turismo Sport that are out there at this moment in time. But this is not a race for the faint of heart at the moment. Has started to settle down at the front, but these mid-pack places, they are still fighting them out for big points and there have been big gainers so far in this race. Yannick Ruoff on the chase of Luke Whitehead.
Yeah, and obviously Ruoff here is wanting to try and get himself up the order as much as he possibly can in that Good Time Racing Porsche. Just having a look at the standings there, I don't think he's actually scored any points this season. I think this might be his first start of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Jake. But meanwhile, Muscat is all over the back of Miguel Neto. As we see, the Bentleys here are doing a great job today. But meanwhile, the Garage 59 Aston Martin has to try and hold this Bentley back as we make our way in towards Clark Curve. And now we go to the Brabham Straight towards Paddock Hill Bend. Is there a chance for Muscat? No, Neto gets a good run out of the final corner there. Now in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Obviously a dangerous corner here. If you get it wrong, that massive bit of gravel on your left-hand side is awaiting you as Muscat puts the pressure on once again onto Neto.
Yeah, he just looks to try and struggle off the exit. The back's really lighting up there for Sheldon Muscat, and that means that he drops a couple tenths of a second compared to the smoother transition to power there from Miguel Neto. That gives him the advantage, that gives him the run, and now that means on this long straight where you would say the Bentley does shine, he's not going to get close enough. Stramair in a lot of space right now in at 12th place, but it's all going on behind him at the moment, because look at this battle for just a handful of points. Hannes holding back Rissar, Conchavo and Umberto Noto now onto the back of this one here. 4 fighting for 3 points, 2 points and a solitary point.
Yeah, and Conchavo will want this, won't he? The Hungarian making his way in towards Graham Hill Bend, sees the mistake of Rissar. That's going to be an invitation to try and go up the inside in towards Surtees. He's just not quite close enough. He's got to be careful because Noto is right on the back of him, looking to try and take that point away from the Hungarian. But here is Conchavo. He's got a really good run on the exit there of Surtees, making our way down Pilgrim's Drop. He's looking for a move up the inside in towards Hawthorne Bend, but again has to back out of it there. And sometimes when you make a move like that, you can cost yourself a bit of time and position, but Noto there can't quite find that move this time around.
No, he certainly can't. He's trying to get on through, and they're looking for free spaces here, and you can use your free Prime Gaming subscription. Of course, it's free money. It's Jeff Bezos' money. You can use that as an opportunity then to get yourself in subscribed on Twitch, and you can get yourself in for the chance of winning free prizes from our sponsors. So, opportunities knocked then. The battle for 4th place still heating up at the moment between Neto and Muscat. They've pulled away from Max Vaffel, who's got himself a little eyes on those behind. Muscat thinking about the inside, getting in the mirrors, which isn't hard to do when you're a Bentley, but not going to really phase Neto that much. But that was a great run through the corner, and again, thinking about getting in the mirrors, thinking about getting to the inside once more, not finding the right run. So the case of going to the earliest and the easiest trick in the book in terms of trying to make some moves. Get yourself in the mirrors of the car in front. Make sure that you let them know that you are everywhere and you will look everywhere for a pass, as there is Rainer Rissar, and he is just about with a tap there with one Mr. Umberto Noto. Conchavo now on the outside looking in.
Yeah, he's now down to 16th place. He's now looking to try and get back into the points and try and get past Umberto Noto as we make our way in towards that long right-hander of Hawthorne Bend.
Oh,
as we've got a car off in the background. Was that Sheldon Muscat? It was going off at the very first corner in towards Paddock Hill Bend, and all that battling there meant that Muscat must have just gone straight on. And Neto will try and gallop into the distance in that car of his, in that Aston Martin.
So easy to do, just to run wide. Now, Luke Whitehead here is under a little bit of pressure right now. You can see just behind him, there is Yannick Ruoff, who is trying to get on through, and he is absolutely running this one on rails at this stage, trying to find this pass. They can't afford to hold each other up too much. Kesey will be charging in the final 12 minutes, as here is Gergely Conchava again looking for that move at turn 1, and he can't quite find it. All of these drivers, though, are chasing down Stramair in 12th place, who could be falling back through everybody in this pack right now, which would be a huge bonus. The 28 that have started, we've only got 19 still running here at this stage. Shows you just how difficult this track is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unforgiving is the best word to describe Brands Hatch. It does not care how you feel. All it cares about is showing us some great racing, which it has done, but it's so narrow to try and get those moves done. It is going to be difficult, as we see that we're riding, or we're getting this helicopter trip around the track then, as Roth is through. You're absolutely right. There's Hamada Akizi, who had that penalty. That's a 10-second stop-and-go penalty early on in that race, as he ran into the back of Amato in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Finds himself, though, in 10th place, as we've got Reina Ressar now all over. And all over that pressure is Umberto Noto making our way in towards Sheens and in towards Sterling's. And that's not normally an overtaking opportunity, but he's trying to force the move up the inside. But Ressar then just manages to hold on. And in fact, Noto has now lost out. That's what happens if you get too eager to try and force the move down the inside. Brands Hatch does not forgive. Brands Hatch does not forget. And for Noto, he falls down the order.
He certainly does, and this is how you do it if you're Hans Hannes. Wait for Stramair to be under pressure and then find the place where it's the most easiest to make the move. You don't need to go for desperation overtakes just yet, and Umberto Noto's patience maybe needs a little bit of work here compared to a couple of others right now as they fight it out in the mid-pack of this field, and they know very, very intently that points in this championship do mean prizes, and they've got to try and find those points very, very easily. And now you start wondering here for the likes of Gersley Conchabo, what do I want right now? Not to be in 15th. You want to try and run the table, so to speak. Find yourself an extra position here and there, and it's the one at a time which you have to work on when every driver who's been in that pack so far has made a little mistake here and there. Sheldon Scott Muscat has pulled is still behind by at least a couple seconds here to Miguel Neto, but it is your race leader at the moment, Redouane Messaoud, who is currently on course to make this one 2 from 2 as things stand, and especially take a huge jump in terms of the championship. Just looking at things right now, Messaoud out, Messaoud in, Amato is out, Brioni is out, so who's next to maybe Luca's main rival? Luke Whitehead, all the way down in 9th place.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge moment there for Messaoud. He's got to try and get this car to the end of this race. Just a quick note on this track temperature. It's been going up all night as it started out. It's around about 10 degrees. Very, very chilly out on track. It's now all the way up to 13 and 14 as that is the pink car of Ressart trying to move up the inside in towards Druids and no way through. Stramair does brilliantly to defend there. He is driving the widest Audi Brands Hatch has ever seen, but he's desperately trying to hold on to this 13th place. Can he hold on for 9 more minutes? This is going to take everything out of the Audi of Stramair and that GT Omega RPM esports car. And Ressart, Conchabo, Noto, we've already seen how much and how willing they are to scrap against each other. They'll be just as willing to scrap against Stramair. Here comes Ressart then down the inside as we head our way in towards Hawthorne Bend. He's got the inside line then, and he makes the move stick. Does he? Stramair's trying to stick it round the outside. He's trying to hang on for everything it's worth in towards Westfield Bend, and Conchabo trying to move up the inside. Was there contact between the two of them? Stramair ran onto the grass. He's lost all that time now. There is Noto who gets up the inside, and just in the blink of an eye, within 3 corners, all 3 of those cars have now passed Stramair.
Stramair has been welcomed to the freight train, and now on the back of Gergely Conchabo, we look here, to go picture in picture, he looks to try and cross the beam, so to speak, to try and find a way through. He can't quite get there right now and get exactly what he needs to make that pass. As I've got things right now, Jack Noller will move up to 2nd in the championship as things stay like this, but at this moment in time, Umberto Noto wants to find a way through, wants to do so quickly. He'll look at the inside here at turn 2, and again, just sticking his nose on the inside. It's the sort of driving style that says, you know what, I'm going to place my car in all the places you don't want me to be. And sometimes, when you look at, say, battle plans and things like that, what do you want the battle plan to be? Well, we'll do the thing that the enemy least wants me to do.
Yeah, unsettling the driver ahead of you. That's the most important thing. Go for moves, put your nose in where they wouldn't expect it, flash your lights down the straight, do everything you can to try and get into your opponent's head. For Conchabo, though, it almost worked. However, the Hungarian is hanging on to 14th place now. Of course, the 3 of them will battle away. Max Vappel there we're seeing in 6th place. Bit of a race of his own at the moment in the Incoherent Racing Lines Mercedes. But, of course, the Estonian 6th place right now could get himself a good haul of points. Here comes Noto, though, trying to move up the inside. There's contact between the 2 of them. Conchabo off into the gravel there. That's on the entrance in towards Sheens, that was, as we head our way in towards Sterling's. And Umberto Noto there, well, answers on a postcard. They were side by side going through.
It was a bridge too far for Umberto Noto. He knows that much, and now he finds himself dropping down a little bit, a few positions here and there, and now you can see the final stages of this race coming into fruition. There's Jan Ryler in 11th place, having a really, really good run right now, on course for his first points of the season, and he'll take a good 5 points as well, which will be very, very useful. There's your race leader in red one, Messaoud. Now, keep an eye on that behind, because that's still Jack Noller, and we haven't talked much about this battle here. Jack Noller has just been quietly keeping even, and there's traffic on the horizon as well, which won't be part of what Red One Messaoud will be hoping here. That gap is there or thereabouts, a second to a second and a half.
Yeah, and that car gets well out of the way, onto the grass even, just to make sure that he doesn't hold up the leaders whatsoever. But Messaoud will want to make it back-to-back wins, and Jack Noller here will want to try and get up the order as much as possible. Back-to-back podiums it'll be so far. He got 3rd place at the Circuit de Catalunya last time out. Could be a 2nd place here at Brands Hatch, and well, we'll expect big things for him from Zandvoort if that pattern's anything to go by. But at the moment, Messaoud leads as he makes his way on through in towards Westfield Bend now, clipping that curb beautifully in the Porsche and just making sure it is millimetrically perfect on the curbs and getting as close as you possibly can to that grass as we make our way in through Sheens and now down towards Sterling's once again. Only around 5 minutes of this race to go. Can Messaoud hold on, or does Jack Noller have something up his sleeve?
Looks like he starts close down in 23.6 last time by for Noller. There is Stramair in 15th position, the last points paying place at this stage. Jamsran is on the outside looking in 16th right now as he gets close. But the big key is all of these drivers are coming up here for the likes of Messaoud and Noller, and they have to go and put a lap on. There is Jimmy Holm, who's got himself a bit of traffic to deal with through turn 1. What a drive, in the quiet drive he's had so far. He's just kept it out of trouble, and he's been island racing, so to speak, because he's had nobody to look at all race.
Absolutely. I mean, he didn't get any points at the first round at Silverstone. He got 8 points in the Circuit de Catalunya last time out. Now he's on course to try and get his first podium, which will get him 25 points on the board. A huge leap up the table. It's been a sensational drive for Jimmy Holm. Can he hold on for the last 4 minutes?
We're looking in cockpit here at Redouane Messaoud and the way that he is driving the wheels off the number 2 H3 Porsche at this stage, or H3 as he would like to say it 3 times. But at this moment in time, Jack Noller in the GT Omega RPM car definitely wants to try and stay close. You can see it's very much a case of even keel as we see these drives go through. They've only got 3.5 minutes coming up to try and figure this race out, and it's all in Jack Noller's hands at this stage. He's got to be able to get close enough to attack to really unsettle Red One Messaoud. 23.3 again from Red One, very much the epitome of consistency at the moment. Jack Noller, though, is trying everything to get closer. There is Sergei Kunshabo, 14th place right now, and he is probably in a position going, oh, please don't put me in the position on the final lap where I've got to let everybody go through.
Well, that might be, it might get worse for him. Kunshabo, we've just seen from the stewards, has been given a drive-through penalty for the incident between himself and Umberto Noto. Now, that would have been at Sheen's corner, so that will be a drive-through penalty, and I'm afraid to say any chance of points for the GRT Lexus might be up in smoke now.
Certainly does look that way. Stramair's only a couple of seconds back, so goodbye points, and Jamsran may be on for his first point of the season with a late drive-through penalty. If it's not served, it will become a 30-second time penalty at the end of the race. There is Jimmy Holm in 3rd position, having a really, really strong drive right now. But it's all about now making sure that those finishes become into fruition. Big drivers out of the races today. Tiziano Brioni will get 0 points out of this one. Pierluca Amato will also take 0 points coming out of this one. Both involved in a lap 1 collision, but now Jamsran will take his move up into 15th place, let the leaders go on through, and suddenly this is a little awkward down the inside there for Jack Noller, but look at how that gap is under a second for the first time as Jamsran has a huge moment on the exit at Paddock Hill Bend.
Well caught, Jamsran, well caught, and now on course to try and get his first point of the season. But there's going to be one driver behind him that'll catch him at a rate of knots in Umberto Noto. He'll have his hands full in the last 90 seconds of this race. But look at that gap between the leaders right now. It is so close between them. We've got Jan-Niklas Erbrich making his way down the Bradham Straight, and he is through on the car of Max Waffel. So that's Erbrich up to 6th place, Max Waffel down to 7th, and the LL Racing Lexus now up into that 6th place there. So nice driving from him. There's Yannick Ruoff as we head towards the final couple of laps. The German in the Good Time Racing Porsche now in 8th place, and it's been a solid drive from him, Jake, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Yannick has proven that he's had the pace and he's had the availabilities to go out there and really challenge. Still not over for 9th place here. Luke Whitehead trying to hold on to as many points as he possibly can. He's got Hamida Akizi, who will definitely want to try and get through up into 9th place on what has been a great recovery drive again for him. The second consecutive week that he's had himself a drive-through penalty speak of. This is not ideal. We are in the final stages. We are coming up. He looks around the outside. He took a bite of the cherry there, trying to get it turned in. He's just got so much more speed at the moment with that stop and hold that he had. Contact side by side through the small kink right. Down Pilgrim's Drop they go. I think this Mercedes is going to work this one well on the outside, but Whitehead keeps the boot in on the inside. And well, why wouldn't he right now? Moves hard to the inside to defend this one. This is some committed defending, and again, no chance of going through, but it's slow on the exit there from the Lexus compared to the AMG. And once more, we find ourselves in the same place. There wide goes Messaoud, and there could be the chance for Whitehead. But let's go back to the leaders, why don't we? Because look at Redouane Messaoud. This is the final lap of the race, and Nola is right there, but he's running out of places to go and make that overtake. Good run out of here, could give him the shot, but he runs wide, he's in the grass, and now Redouane Messaoud just has to play zero mistakes driving right now because he's been pressured every stage of the way. We haven't seen too much of the battle, but it's been one where Messaoud has just been slowly reeled in, little wiggle going through Dingle Dell and the Sheen curb. That's not going to be ideal, but he's only got one more braking zone now to figure things out, and he knows that he has just driven the socks off of this drive. Redouane Messaoud will take the championship lead to Zandvoort as he goes back-to-back here and takes Brands Hatch in a thrilling finish.
What a drive for Redouane Messaoud, and fair play to Jack Nolly. He gave it everything he could to try and get that win, but that small mistake cost him a chance. Jimmy Holm with his first podium of the season. What a drive from that 777 or Ferrari. Fantastic drive from him. Neto is going to come across the line. He'll just about beat off Michel Dan Muscat there for 4th place as he makes his way on towards that 4th place there. There's Akizi and Whitehead. They're still going for it then as that battle for 9th place intensifies, going now all the way through in towards that last couple of corners, through Sheen's, through now in towards Sterling's. Luke Whitehead is desperate to want this 9th place position. There's a little bit of a back marker up ahead, bit of a 3-wide moment as we head our way in towards Clearways. Akizi's going to have to go the long way round in towards Clark Curve. Can he slow that car down in time? Yes, he can. Great move around the outside, and Hamada Akizi has worked hard for that position. He gets that position of P8. Fantastic racing between the two of them.
What about Vaffel?
Comes out on top.
What about Vaffel? Because he was dropping down the order late. I was wondering when the move came in and it got overtaken by Erbrich, whether Vaffel was maybe struggling with fuel or something because he dropped back so dramatically on that overtake. And I wonder if he is dropping down. He's now being overtaken by Ryler on the board and Hans Hannes. I'm wondering if Vaffel's even going to get himself over the line. He'll get a couple points for his troubles, but it is late that Max Vaffel now drops down the order, the Estonian, after what looked like it was going to be a surefire finish for him that he can be quite happy about. I think he's just going to be collecting 11th place overall. No, it's going to be 12th now behind Rassar, who does get over to the line, but it is Redouane Messaoud who will pick up the win over Nola, and Vaffel will be classified in 13th place come the end of that event. A lot to break down in terms of this one here, Kieran, but the big thing there is that it was about Messaoud's race, and now he takes a commanding championship lead position.
Absolutely. What a drive. And although we didn't see much of it during that race, sometimes that's a good thing. It meant he controlled the race. He did it at his own pace. I mean, that was just a fantastic drive from the Frenchman. 2 wins in a row, firmly in the championship lead as we head towards Zandvoort. I mean, he's got to be happy with that.
And he'll be happy enough that he's having a conversation with us right now. So, Redwan Messaoud here with us. Redwan, it's lights to flag, and it felt maybe a little bit easier knowing that your main rival made a mistake at turn 1, caused a pile up there behind you. So the focus was just you and, of course, Jack Noller behind.
So you listen to me? You listen?
Yeah.
Okay. So first corner, I don't really did a mistake. I don't know. So what happened for the car behind me? I don't know.
Well, you don't know what happened behind, but there was an incident that took quite a few of your rivals out of the battle for the win. But let's just talk about your race. You led pretty much every single lap of this event. It's your 2nd win in a row, and you have to be quite happy knowing that Jack was closing you down in the late stages.
So I feel good. I feel good again. So it's good for me for the championships to win. So I got a lot of points for the classement. So it's cool for me. Congratulations, all drivers participate at WPR.
Well, a big congratulations to all the drivers, but a congratulations to you as well. It's 2 wins in a row. You now look at Zandvoort coming up in 1 week's time. Do you like that track? Do you feel like it suits the way that you've been driving at the moment? And can you make it 3 in a row?
Before Assetto Corsa competition, I play another game, simulation driving. Zandvoort, it's one of my favorite track.
Well, one of your most favourite tracks. We'll hopefully see a good result from there. Before we let you go here, Redwan, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Not sponsor, not sponsor. So I dedicate my victory for the team H3 Racing.
Well, no worries at all. H3 will be very, very happy with that one. Redwan Messaoud, the race victor overall. Kieran McGinley stood by with the driver who finished in 2nd. He's got Jack Noller.
Yes, I have indeed. And Jack Noller, that was quite a race you had there. Gave it the full beans at the end of the race. But talk us through that race, because that's a 2nd place for you, 2nd podium in a row. How are you feeling?
Yeah, mega. It was the pace of us two at the front was insane. It was like we were in the 22s, high 22s most laps, or low 23s. That was very quick, especially compared to what we did last time we came here in the more fun championship race. So yeah, it was a good start. I didn't really want to start 4th, so I just went to the inside, and fortunately enough for me, I think the Mercedes just outbroke himself and took out P2 and 3, so made the most of the space given, and it was closing back up to the Porsche, and we had quite a hot lap battle. It was sometimes I would close, sometimes he'd pull away. I'd raised my tyre pressures at the start, so I knew they'd drop off during the race from previous events we've done here. So I was hoping that I'd be able to come back towards the end, and that's what did happen. But it was last lap, and I thought, just send it and give it all my best. I knew in my heart it wouldn't stick on that GP loop when I went wide, but I had to keep my foot in to give it a try. But brilliant race. So yeah, good to finally get a good result on track and no contact this time.
Yeah, and of course, looking at your previous results, you've got the Circuit de Catalunya where you finished the 3rd place. You had today where you finished 2nd. Is there a pattern emerging here for Zandvoort?
Oh, hopefully it's going that way. It'll be last time I drove Zandvoort was in the McLaren, so that wasn't the best suited car. So we'll be looking forward to trying that in something else, probably this Bentley again, because I found the car that I quite like here. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it.
So hopefully we'll be seeing much more of that Bentley when we head towards Zandvoort. And just give us a quick review or a quick preview for yourself. how are you thinking about Zandvoort? You looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely a track that you struggle to overtake, so qualifying is going to be hugely important, much like here. It might be a little bit easier to overtake the Porsches because the nature of them is they are a bit slower in a straight line, especially with WPR around there, I believe. So it depends if they change car or not. But not to say the Porsche is slow. It's definitely a very, very quick car. But overtaking wise, you might be able to get some speed on the straight over there. But looking forward to it. It's not my favourite track in the world, but you only say that because you're not as good at it or you haven't spent as much time there. So spend the time and you'll get good and you'll like it.
And before we let you go, is there any messages you want to send out to any sponsors or any friends or family?
Yeah, I've got to thank the sponsors of GT Omega, Gaming Malta, as well as HyperX, Student Motorsport, and yourselves at World Pro Racing. So thank you very much for all the support, and we'll keep going, and hopefully you'll get a win soon, or at least more podiums.
Well, Jack, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations on your podium tonight, and we'll let you celebrate that amazing podium. And I'm going to hand it back to Jake, who's got our third place man with him in Jimmy Holm.
I certainly do. Now, Jimmy, I'm not sure about you as a person in terms of I haven't really met you before, had a chance to talk to you, but whatever superstitions that maybe I would have, would it be a case of keep everything the same that you did coming up towards today after picking up a result which hasn't really been on the card so far this season for you?
Yeah, well, perhaps luck has to favor me sometimes as well. I'll take some luck after the first 2 rounds when I've been, let's say, on the other side of the coin.
Well, that was a race which, in terms of how things developed after about 5 minutes for you, it would have been one of those drives where you didn't really have much to talk about or much to see. You saw 2 cars in front of you pull off into the distance. You pulled away quite comfortably from the drivers behind, and it was one of those races where you had just that quiet drive. Are those the drives that are maybe the easiest, not necessarily the most fun, but the easiest just to try and execute and deliver on?
Yeah, I'd say it was quite a nice Friday stroll. Don't have to worry too much about anyone behind, and I obviously didn't have the pace to catch up with P1 or P2, so yeah, just phase 1, survive turn 1, and phase 2, stay out of the sand.
What has it been about the Ferrari so far for you this season, Jimmy, that's been giving you so much fun and now finally finding the success here at round 3?
I was mainly a Ferrari driver before this season 2020 as well, and I actually hated the car, but this Evo version is actually fantastic, especially at this track. I really like it. The kick from the engine, a lot more turn in, pretty much the things that the old Ferrari was lacking. So it's a great car, great pace.
Great car, great pace, great points as well. You shoot up the table as well. Before we let you go, any shout-out sponsors, people you'd like to thank?
Just like to thank everyone who participated, everyone who is in charge of this, and of course the Surfforce community.
Well, no worries at all. Jimmy Holm then coming home with 3rd position overall. Kieran, let's talk Zandvoort in 1 week's time, because that's going to be a track which I think is going to be shaking up the field just a little bit more, like one of those snow globes that you get in a confectionery shop. It's going to be one of those interesting races where I don't think it's going to be the easiest thing on paper to really decipher.
Narrow track, lots of undulation, lots of banking as well. It's going to be one of those high-speed circuits. And again, not many braking zones to be seen at Zandvoort. Qualifying is going to be critical, maybe even more critical than today's race. We've already heard from some of the drivers going in towards Zandvoort that probably they're going to be practicing those qualifying laps and getting the most out of that 1-lap pace. That'll give them the advantage heading towards that Dutch circuit. But if today's race is anything to go by, narrow circuits are the way forward, apparently. We should see some good racing next week.
We certainly should. A massive thanks, though, has to go here today with World Pro Racing to everyone who has helped this one out behind the scenes, to Adrian Fagayo and George Muscat, who are kept busy in the steward's office as race director and chief steward, from the likes of Nathan and Justin Mifsud, who have been on the cameras here today. And, of course, the people like myself and Kieran McGinley, who have been here along for the ride. We've been streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and on Twitch. Remember to use your Prime Gaming if you haven't got that already, it's a free subscription. Why wouldn't you at this point in time? There's prizes available with World Pro Racing if you join with the Prime over on Twitch. And of course, we have been on motorsport.tv, on TVM Sport, and on ESTV, the Esports Television Network. Massive thanks has to go to the sponsors that you see on screen, the likes of Gaming Malta, HyperX, AMD, who help power the World Pro Racing studios, Thrustmaster, visit malta.com, and of course, Melita as well with their gigabit internet. Massive, massive results, though, have come for the likes of Redwan Messaoud. It's 2 in a row, and it's been all about the dominance moving forward. A lot of drivers picking up big points. A lot of drivers, though, giving up the momentum and the initiative in the championship. We'll be heading to the Dutch Dunes in a week's time for a nice little beachside race. But before we let you all go, here's how everything all stacked up. This was what happened here today with round 3 at Brands Hatch.
stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.